Happy Canada Day from Punky Doodle's Corner. Now, Punky Doodle's Corner lies at the intersection of Waterloo Region, Oxford County, and Perth County. The origins of the name Punky Doodle's Corner aren't entirely clear. According to Southeast Hope History Book, the name could come from the pumpkin patch, it could come from the nickname of one of the residents, or the most likely story is that the local innkeeper used to enjoy singing the song Yankee Doodle Dandy. But instead of saying Yankee Doodle, he pronounced it Punky Doodle, and the name stuck ever since. Punky Doodle's Corner has a special place in our history. And in 1982, this hamlet, with a population of only 14 people, hosted a celebration for Canada's birthday. 14 residents, attracting more than 10,000 people to celebrate Canada's birthday. For one day and one day only, a post office was opened here in Punky Doodle's Corner, and 5,000 pieces of letter mail were sent with the postmark of Punky Doodle's Corner. In fact, it was the opening of the post office which confirmed the official spelling of Punky Doodle's Corner with an apostrophe S. The celebration that day was a big one. There was a baby show, there was a frog jumping contest, and local dancers and musicians entertained the crowd. Among those celebrating that day was former Prime Minister Joe Clark and his daughter Catherine. So joining me now for a virtual return to Punky Doodle's Corner, Canada's former Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Joe Clark. Hello, Mr. Clark, and welcome. It's nice to have you back for our virtual visit to Punky Doodle's Corner. Happy Canada Day to you and your family, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you, John, very much, and thank you for welcoming us back. It was certainly one of the most memorable celebrations of Canada Day in our history, in our family history. So I'm delighted to be back.
Wonderful. Now, Punky Doodle's Corner has a population in 1982 of 14 people, but 10,000 people showed up. And I have to ask you, you've been Prime Minister of Canada, you've been Foreign Minister, you've been Constitutional Affairs Minister. Is Punky Doodle's Corner one of the more unique place names that you've visited over the years?
It's one of the more unique place names, but it was also a great demonstration of the community instincts that are so strong in Canada. But you know, we've got a raft of very interesting names in this country. I mean, I grew up not far from Medicine Hat, and I once delivered a speech, a nomination speech in a place called Witless Bay, Newfoundland. Now, the good news of that was that the person who was nominated was John Crosbie, who came on to show that same sort of Newfoundland and Punky Doodle Corner wit in the House of Commons. But it's one of our gifts in the country that we have so many place names and that we're always discovering them. It's a great thing for Canadians to get out and get around our country. Maybe more people will do that when travel becomes a little more easier, because we can't go elsewhere for a while, and it would be very good to get to know our own country better.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you sent along a wonderful picture of yourself and your then 5-year-old daughter, Catherine, at the Punky Doodle celebration. And I'm going to put it up on the screen now, and it just smiles all around. And, family's so important. And how important was it for you to have your family involved in your public life over the years?
Right. Well, it was great that we were all there. And, of course, we were not the only family there. There were swarms of families there. And everyone was in a wonderful frame of mind, and it was a memorable day. Canada Day is in any event, but when the sun is shining and when there's a great and exuberant crowd, it was really excellent. We, as you can tell, we kept the photo from that time. And Catherine, of course, as little girls do, has grown up into a very successful woman and mother and business person, communicator in her own. So it brings back the happiest of memories.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think she had some great role models growing up, of yourself and Ms. McTeer as well, for public service and taking a positive role in public life as well. So that's a real testament.
Well, yeah, and she very much appreciated your help in one of her recent visits to your own area. But that's great. We've all done this, as you well know, as a family, as families do in so many things in Canada. That's, again, part of the celebration of our birthday.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, one of the phrases you've used in public life is about Canada being a community of communities, and I was just wondering if you could explain to us how important it is, as we face the challenges today with COVID-19, how important it is that we celebrate the communities in our country and across our country.
I think it's important that we celebrate because it's easy to get down these times and sometimes forget just how lucky we are. But it's also worth remembering that Canada is a really distinct community in the world, a distinct country in the world. We know we're extremely lucky to be here, but sometimes we overlook some of the elements of our luck. One of them, of course, is that our communities are very strong. Our local communities are strong. People care about one another. And they do that even at a time when technology tends to separate people. But I use the phrase community of communities for a reason. And I have to say it was contentious at the time. There was a sitting prime minister at the time who called me the servant of the provinces when I said that. But it's really a description that is unique about Canada because we were formed by people who came from elsewhere, with the singular exception of the Indigenous people. And when you look back at it and look at the very difficult history between Indigenous people and newcomers in much of the world, we didn't have that here. The newcomers were welcomed, and we came from everywhere, and we formed very strong communities. Now, one of our challenges as a country is that we're so big and so diverse. And so the tendency is to look inward too often. And it's important to remember not only do we have the benefit of our local communities, but we have a singular benefit, really a great Canadian advantage in the sense of our larger community. And that's why I'm pleased that you picked up that phrase from the past, because I think what it really is a recipe for the future for Canada. So that's what I have in mind when I say Happy Canada Day.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And before I let you go, we're celebrating Canada Day this year. What makes you most proud right now of our country? What makes you proud about being Canadian this Canada Day as we celebrate 53 years of being a country?
Well, we've been a remarkably successful country, both in terms of our place in the world, but also in terms of our ability to work together. I think one phrase that echoes back in my mind was a phrase I heard when I was constitutional minister. And a chief, an Aboriginal chief from the Kootenay Plain in Alberta named Peter O'Chese, gave a prayer at one of the meetings, and he said, "Let us lift each other up." And I think that's what Canadians do at our best, and I think we do it better than almost anyone else. But we've got to remember to keep doing it, because it is a signature. We are in this together. We're very lucky, and our good luck magnifies the more we respect it and practice it. So that, I think, is an essence of the country that continues, that thrives, even in a time when people are going to be down. We're worried about COVID. We're worried about all of these things. And I've been interested in the very current phrase about social distancing, because there's a sense in which, with modern technology, when we can each look in on ourselves, we've become socially distant from a lot of things. Most of us, I think, underestimated, for example, the impact of COVID upon people in seniors' residences. We just didn't see it coming, and we should have. And there are a lot of other things that we didn't see coming. So in a sense, it's a wake up to us, but it's a wake up not simply about a pandemic, but also about the need to respect the very enriching differences of our community. That's a great Canadian asset, and it's something we have to keep working at and taking pride in. Happy Canada Day.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. And I think that was a wonderful message to leave us on this Canada Day, this 153rd anniversary of Confederation. So to you, Mr. Clark, to your wonderful family, and to all Canadians from Punky Doodle's Corner, Happy Canada Day.
Thank you very much, and to you. Bye-bye.